Welcome to the Planet MicroCap Showcase Virtual 2022. I'm your host, Robert Kraft, and thank you for joining us. Now presenting at our event is Andy Duncan, Chairman and CEO of Boardwalktech. It's a publicly traded company. I got two symbols for you, BWLK on the TSX Venture and BWLKF on the OTCQB. With that, Andy, take it away.
Great. Thanks, Bobby. Appreciate the opportunity to be here this year. So let me tell you a little bit about Boardwalktech. We are the leading digital ledger information management platform. Forward-looking statement, remind everyone that all of the numbers that you see will be in dollar value US. So the vision of the company is to create a single version of the truth for all enterprise information, where we help companies unify both unstructured and structured data so that they can build much more intelligent workflows and information management systems, which helps them to drive faster decisions and more insightful decisions. So what does that mean kind of in the reality of things? Well, after these large companies have spent literally hundreds of millions of dollars on their enterprise systems of record, like SAP and Oracle and Salesforce.com and all of the supply chain solutions that they've spent so much money on, basically the enterprise data is still a mess. And you look at kind of the current state of our supply chain issues going on out there, and a lot of it is being driven by the fact that a lot of the systems of record out there are inflexible and basically couldn't change as quickly as they needed to as the world was changing with a worldwide pandemic. When we kind of dig into the enterprise and see what's really going on, while we know that companies like SAP and Oracle and Salesforce.com are providing a lot of value, when you see what's really going on with all of the data in an enterprise, most of the information is being managed in Microsoft Excel. And what happens is that a VP gets together and says, hey, we've got a problem with his or her team. Let's go find the data. Let's get that data into a place where we can understand it. And lo and behold, what do? But they use Microsoft Excel to basically align that data and bring that data together. About 40% of a person's time, by the way, every day is spent chasing information within their organization. So what happens is that as you start to try and understand what's going on with that data, people have to have a repository to line the data up, and they use Microsoft Excel. Before you know it, people start writing formulas against this data. Before you know it, they start emailing these spreadsheets around. And before you know it, these spreadsheets actually become the system of record, where multi-million-dollar decisions are being made minute by minute across these organizations, across hundreds or thousands of these spreadsheet-based processes. This is the reality. This is how systems are run, companies are run today. Boardwalk has delivered what's called the Boardwalk Digital Ledger. We've got 5 patents on this technology. We've got another 6 that are pending. It is unique technology. And what we do is we work with large organizations to help them transform these manual spreadsheet processes into an automated digital environment. We create what we call the single version of the truth. So what happens is we take these spreadsheets and we put them over onto the digital ledger. When someone then working in a spreadsheet that is connected to the Boardwalk Digital Ledger, instead of emailing the spreadsheet around, they simply hit submit refresh. We grab the data that has changed in their local spreadsheet, move it to the digital ledger, insert it into our unique digital ledger with a timestamp and a user ID and a transaction ID, so that we create a complete immutable record of everything that's happened. The value that this creates is not only do you have a complete audit trail on everything that's happened in this spreadsheet, we also can have n number of people working on the same information set at the same time. We have a full enterprise integration framework that allows us to pull the data in and out of the systems of record, workflow, access control. Effectively, this is a low-code platform that allows you, without having to write a line of code, to transition all of these manual spreadsheet processes into a digital application. So how important is this? About 80% of the data in an enterprise is what we call unstructured. An unstructured piece of data might be a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, a Word document, a PDF, and HTML. This unstructured data is actually doubling every 2 years, and the enterprise does not provide a tool to their information workers that says, here's how you're going to manage all of this unstructured data. And this unstructured data is critical to the organization, because if you don't understand all of this data, you don't have all of the data, you're not going to be able to make an appropriate decision. So when you look at what's happening out there with all of these spreadsheets, there's about 1 billion Microsoft Excel users in the world, and most enterprises today have between 100 and 1,000 of these manual Excel processes, and there's no path toward digital transformation until now. And this is what Boardwalk does. One quick thing about the value of this: we have a large bank that we closed back in March that I think many people have heard about. And we've been doing some initial interviews with early users. And one of the quotes came back and said that what used to take me 2 days of aggregating all these spreadsheets together to then provide a report now takes me 15 minutes with the Boardwalk Digital Ledger. So not only are we creating a secure, compliant environment, but we're greatly improving the way in which people work. Imagine being able to say to somebody, I'm going to give you back 2 days a week of your time to go work on other things. So what does this mean? So the Boardwalk Digital Ledger, low-code application platform can run either behind a client's firewall, or we will host it through one of our hosting services partners for a client. And it becomes a very important part of the technology stack. So as I talked about before, companies are running SAP, Oracle, Salesforce, Slack, Amazon, Workday, Tableau, all their Office products, but they don't have any application to help the information workers with their unstructured data. And this is where we come in to help them with unstructured data and information management. We make money by charging an annual fee for the use of this digital ledger. And again, it allows people and companies to very quickly digitally transform all of this unstructured data. It also allows them to create these private permissioned access control and secured environments. This is rapid. So instead of taking 6 months to a year to rebuild an application, we're talking about configuring an existing spreadsheet with all of the intelligence over onto our digital ledger platform in a matter of days or weeks, as opposed to months or quarters. We greatly improve the security, auditability, and compliance for all of this enterprise data, and we help companies make decisions faster, which is what it's all about in today's world. Do I have the right information? Can I make a decision faster than the next guy? So when you look at the Boardwalk Digital Ledger, we can connect utilizing Excel, but we can also connect utilizing a browser, a mobile environment, and think of the Boardwalk Digital Ledger as the central version of truth to connect the structured data in an enterprise with the unstructured data that allows someone to be able to search that data, organize that data, control that data, and manage that data, all in our single schema environment, which means that there's no need to create a SQL database. It automatically absorbs the data into the digital ledger and creates these, digital environments for people to be able to share data and make decisions, and most importantly, understand both the structured data and the unstructured data in their enterprise. Some of our customers today are, top tier customers, Levi's, Accenture, Ernst & Young, that uses us in their tax technology framework. Very proud of our relationship with EY. Apple Computer, Broadcom, we do a lot of work in kind of manufacturing, in supply chain, in the CPG market. We also do a lot of work in the financial planning, compliance, and analysis market, across a multitude of different types of customers, but most of the types of customers that we have today are focused in manufacturing, are focused in CPG, where there's a lot of information flow, there's a lot of spreadsheets, and there's a lot of need to make rapid decisions on data that's flowing that heretofore they haven't really been able to capture, and now they can. A case study that's interesting is we have a chip company, it's a client in Scottsdale or Phoenix, Arizona. They had an issue where they were getting in about 25 RFQs a day. And when these RFQs come in, they're very complex. Once they come in, they're going to try and respond as quickly as possible. And the average response day was was 7 days. Because they had between 10 and 15 individual touches within their organization to actually say, I'm going to quote on this particular chip, where they might say, I need 2.5 million chips at this factory by February 15th, based upon the following configuration, what's your price? And they'll send this out. The customer will send this out to 8 or 10 chip companies. And so, this is complicated stuff. We automated this system for onsemi, and through the automation on the Boardwalk Digital Ledger platform, not only did we reduce the number of days from 7 for them to respond down to 2, we improved their manpower efficiency by about 60%. But the key is that we increased their sales conversions, because the faster that you respond to an RFP, RFQ, the higher probability you have of actually winning the deal. So this is a great example of a manual process where they were emailing these spreadsheets around, trying to figure it all out, put it on the Boardwalk Digital Ledger, central single version of the truth, automating the process. Great result for not only onsemi, but great result for the ability for them to talk about increasing sales conversions on a daily basis off of these 25 RFQs. Another case study is with a company that we work with. It's one of the largest cosmetics manufacturers. They're based in New York. This company actually started with us in February of 21. We started out at an ARR of about $85,000, and we ended up now in February of 22 at about $250,000 of ARR. And we believe that this particular company will scale to about $1 million of ARR. And this takes into account that most companies have, hundreds of these Microsoft Excel spreadsheet applications that today are manual, that need to be moved over into a digital environment. So we have, as we're building revenue, we have 2 different ways in which we go to market. One is we go to market on our enterprise business on a traditional enterprise sales standpoint, and we get into a company, we land a new logo, and then we expand. We call this our land and expand strategy, where we really kill ourselves to make this first application that we deliver a success. We normally charge around $100,000 for that first application. And then we target kind of the next 10. And we say, over the next 36 months, let's go ramp up 10 additional applications. Remember, the total target is about 100 of these mission critical. So we're not, trying to, break the bank, if you will, by implementing all of them, although we would love to. But if we just implement 10, which is 10% of the total market for most of these companies, we actually can drive revenue from kind of starting out at about $100,000 per year on an ARR basis, up to about $1 million per year on an ARR basis. And we have several examples of how this is working. So on our enterprise business, direct sales, enterprise sales, go land new logos, and then expand going forward. looking at driving that particular market and getting over the next 36 to 48 months to $100 million of revenue in that market. The second market that we're targeting is in financial services, and this is going to take a couple minutes for me to explain what happened here. We have a partner that is a $10 billion IT services company that's out of New York and India. And this company came to us about 2 years ago and said, hey, we have a major bank that is very interested in automating about 40,000 of their spreadsheets. And in fact, they were penalized by the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, which is the the financial entity within the United States government that manages these banks. And they were penalized because they didn't have a good solution around compliance for all of these spreadsheets that are running throughout the bank. This partner said, we would love to partner with you on this. We think that your solution is perfect. Would you work with us on it? And we said, of course. So we started working with this partner on this bank, thinking we were going to go into kind of one division. And we ended up, after going through all of the due diligence with the bank, signing an enterprise-wide deal across all divisions of this bank, where the bank will be working with us, will be working with these other partners to actually implement the Boardwalk solution across the entire bank to automate about 40,000 of these spreadsheets. Now, the interesting thing about this is that the kind of deal that we cut with this particular partner is we license the Boardwalk Digital Ledger platform, which, by the way, we didn't have to write a line of code in order to solve this problem. So that was a great thing. But we licensed this technology directly to the bank for a couple $1 million a year. And then the professional services work and all of the administrative work is then done by the partner. So it's a win-win. The partner makes a bunch of money by doing the services work. Boardwalk does great by signing the license agreement directly with the bank. And this is a model now that we believe will actually be able to deliver another $100 million revenue market utilizing the Boardwalk Digital Ledger platform across these financial services businesses. And we think that every bank has got this problem. The Office of the Comptroller of the Currency continues to push hard to get these banks to show that they've got a compliance solution in place for all of these spreadsheets, because they've got to be controlled. There's a lot of IP and a lot of private data that's running here. And our system actually beautifully allows us to be able to remediate the compliance risk and deliver the auditability, traceability. And if you recall the quote that I had earlier, the operational value of being able to say what used to take me 2 days to hand aggregate all of this data from all of these spreadsheets being emailed around, now that Boardwalk has automated that, it takes me about 15 minutes. So a lot of the people in the bank are starting to get excited about the fact that operationally this is going to be terrific for them. So second market that we're going to be going after, $100 million revenue opportunity over the next 36, 48 months. We'll be utilizing the channel to go after this, where we're now recruiting and signing what we call teaming agreements with a lot of these IT services companies that have a deep influence with the banks, want to do the professional services work, and want to find a way to help the bank solve the problem. So as a snapshot, as we get to the end here, Bobby, our company's now got 21 of the Fortune 500 as customers. Our revenue is growing at a 45% CAGR since 2018 when we implemented our SaaS model. The pipeline that we have in the company is growing to excess of 7 million, even though we're taking deals off the pipeline as we're winning some of these big deals. We're refilling that with new opportunities. Really nice retention rate as well. And financially, those of you that have been tracking us, you know that we came out with guidance at the end of our fiscal year, which ends March 31st. Our guidance was 6.5 to 7 million for our fiscal 23, which we're in the middle of now. We're currently trending at the high end of that. The ARR that we originally came out with, where we were talking about 5.1, is now in excess of 6 million, and we're definitely seeing an improvement on our adjusted EBITDA, where we are driving toward profitability with the cash that we have on hand. So if you take a look at our balance sheet, it's very tight. We've got enough cash on hand in order to execute to profitability mid next year. We're also debt free. We've got a very solid capital structure as well. And this is just kind of a summary of our capital structure. And we really believe that the company is poised for great success going forward over the next 36, 48 months with these two major $100 million opportunities, and no need to be able to raise money in the marketplace in order for us to get to profitability. Senior management team, and again, a lot of excitement. This is my email address. Feel free to reach out to me directly if you have questions. I am also excited about next week and the one-on-ones that are lining up for us. Bobby, I think that you may have some questions for me, and I hope that I've left enough time for you to ask questions.
You have. Andy, thank you very much for your presentation here today. And so my first question for you, and again, this is something that I'm asking to all the companies presenting here. We're going through tough markets right now. What measures is the company taking to manage some of these macroeconomic pressures that are currently affecting most microcap companies across the board?
Yeah, it's certainly interesting. We're looking at the current market conditions. Bobby, is actually good for us. And I know that that may sound crazy, but our stock has actually increased in value during this time. We don't need to raise money, so we've positioned the company very well into kind of next year. And quite frankly, with all of the economic issues going on, especially in the supply chain, we're really taking advantage of that by leveraging new customer opportunities, by showing them that the old way of doing things just isn't working, and that they need to be much more flexible and creative, and utilizing the Boardwalk Digital Ledger specifically for the supply chain solutions that are sitting out there, and converting some of these old legacy systems to our new unique way in which we manage data in the supply chain is really helping companies. And we think that that's a big advantage.
Very good. And then now looking ahead to 2023, you mentioned some of your goals and targets for the year, but kind of wrapping it up, from what you can tell us, what would you say are some of the company's value catalysts that you think folks should really pay attention to going into 2023?
Yeah, I think certainly, when you take a look, our last quarter, we announced a 95% year over year revenue increase. There's not too many companies out there that are doing that kind of revenue increase. I think that's a signal that the market is definitely attracted, or that the customers are starting to be very excited about our solutions. We certainly are seeing a growing pipeline. The point now with Boardwalk is it's all about execution, which I've been talking about for a while, and we're executing our butt off. And we really think that we've got a tremendous opportunity ahead of us. But again, it's about keeping your head down, executing, and just doing what we say we're going to do, and let the numbers speak for themselves. And I think as people start to watch us and get to know us and do their diligence on us, I think they will see that, the numbers are speaking for themselves.
Very good. Final question for you here today. We've got a couple minutes left. Based on all that, what corporate actions and or strategies are being put into place to hopefully accomplish some of these execution goals that the company is setting for itself?
Yeah, sure. So, one of the things that we're really proud of is that, we really haven't lost any employees when you kind of take a look at going through the COVID and this, silent employees that basically work from home and then leave, or they're really not working. I will tell you that we as an organization are really clicking on all cylinders. We are deeply engaged, not only with each other as a team, but also with our customers. and it's all about driving customer satisfaction, bringing in new logos. I mean, we're starting to see referrals now, Bobby, where large companies are saying, hey, if you're not on the Boardwalk platform, you're really losing out. And these are things that are just so great to see. I mean, it's heartwarming to see after all of the hard work that this is really starting to pay off, and that we really are at an inflection point as a company. And it's really up to us now to execute and be able to show the market the value that we can provide.
Thank you for your presentation here today. We really do appreciate it. And to everybody watching, thank you for participating, and enjoy the rest of your event. Thank you again,
Thanks,
Andy.
Bobby. All the best.